community member. He can also enter questions. But yeah, things should be pretty fun. You have anything else to say, Forky?
Let's get into it.
Alright, cool. I will count us down then. 3, 2, 1, go.
Alrighty, so for those of you who may not be familiar with this game, it's actually based off of one of the an earlier version of this game called Panel de Pon in Japan, but it got localized as Tetris Attack. But this was heavily inspired from Tetris and Puyo Puyo and Dr. Mario games like that when the arcade puzzlers were just booming. So this one just takes the match 3 aspect, but it's really cool. Instead of like actual blocks falling onto your screen, you can start with them, you can generate them from the bottom, or have garbage that falls on your screen. So basically, as Tay just started off with a mystery chain there, I love it. You have 2 basic ways of sending garbage to your opponent, and those are called chains and combos. So the first big one, chains, is when you make a match, and then basically when you have another match lined up when those blocks are falling and they chain together, that's when you start building it up, and you can go 2, 3, 4, etc. Keep going. And the garbage blocks that get sent to your opponent, they get combined together, so you can see like the big garbage blocks that like Tay sent last round, and kind of crushed Gary with it basically. But then the other form that I mentioned, combos, just as important in this run, especially when starting off your chain, is when you just make it clear when there's more than 3 in a row. So when you do 4 in a row, 5 in a row, they'll send garbage blocks that are disconnected to each other. And then most of the time when you're sending the 4 combo blocks like Tay's doing, they'll drop side by side. And this is really important because it's the one main way of manipulating the AI in this game. He's going to start with a 4 combo at the beginning of each chain and look for another 4 combo in the middle. So he gets those 2 combo blocks that are 3 blocks wide. They fall side by side. And the way the AI is programmed in this game, they kind of prioritize the garbage blocks that's lowest on their screen. So if they get separated and one's higher than the other, they'll focus on clearing just that one that's the lowest. And then if they run out of moves beneath it, they'll just ignore the rest of their screen. Kind of like what's happening on Misty right now. He may be able to get that kill, and he did.
Dude, this is super good so far.
Yeah, and very good pace right now. You generally want around like 30-second times for your matches. But there's a bunch of different ways you can approach this. And one of the main ways I see a lot of runners do nowadays is if they do not get that quick kill, they'll opt for reset strats. So they'll just back out, do the match again, because there's no punishment for losing except like getting a continue by your name. And so they'll try to do that setup again. Because if you do miss it and the opponent does start clearing, there can be a huge variance. Sometimes you get lucky in the patterns and you'll get a follow-up kill pretty quickly. But most of the time it can go for like 1 minute, 2 minute, 20 minutes for some people. The game used to be really brutal back in the day, and a lot of people did no reset races. And man, there are a lot of people getting like 50-minute to hour times in the game when the current world record for this game is 17:04. So that just shows you how far this game's come. I think around the time when this game was getting a little bit more popular, the world record was like in the 26-minute range. So it's almost come down 10 minutes in about 5 years, I'd say. But yeah, that's the basic overview of S-Hard. They basically jacked up the AI so insane in this version of the game. In Tetris Attack, there was a very hard mode. It was the 4th, or they had 4 modes compared to the 5 here. And I guess since it was kind of just early puzzle AI for this series, they could do impressive chains, but the way they were programmed, they would constantly take pauses after clearing garbage and such. And so it's really, I wouldn't say easy, but easier to get consistent runs in that game. the world record for that game is like a 6:58, I want to say, or something like that.
Dude, and there's actually a RNG manip in that world record, I think.
Yeah, that is true.
But just on the first couple stages, because if you start the game with a certain blink pattern from Yoshi, you'll get, because that's what determines.
I like comparing those games to each other in another game in the series as well called Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. They're by far probably the 3 most popular ones, maybe outside of the original Paneled Upon, but I don't think really a lot of the English community has picked it up yet, which that one's a lot different too, like just how the AIs are programmed or some of the mechanics. But each has like a really unique take, where this one is just, it's kind of a big grind, but it's actually more consistent than you would think. And then you have a game like Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, which is on the Game Boy, and since it didn't have enough power to process the opponent's board on the screen, they went with a health bar aspect instead. So that one's more focused on just dealing a specific amount of damage and avoiding the heal mechanic that's in that game. So it's kind of preference which one that you want to play. Like, I'm sure Tay would agree with me, since this was like my childhood game. I've definitely done speedruns of this game a lot more than any of the others in the series. I think it helps, yeah, like I saw in chat, Season 1 Pokemon, that was a big influence. I think that's the only reason my mom got me this game when I was younger. They saw Pokemon in the title and they're like, oh, this must be a fun game. And I do not regret it at all.
Yeah, I played Tetris Attack was the very first game I ever played, and then I also got this later on as well. And I personally like this over Tetris Attack now. I like the feel and the mechanics of it a little better.
100% agree with you. Yeah, and just in case anyone had this thought in chat, you can only have the cursor facing horizontally. You can move it in any direction, but you can't like rotate it up to flip blocks up and down. Even though shoutouts to a project that's being worked on right now called Super Plexus that does give you that ability, which opens up the game a lot. I thought it would be a mechanic I didn't like at first, but it kind of fits well if you're using touch controls and make the engine a little more harsh, I should say.
Erica's being very uncooperative.
You'll get to the point kind of like how Tay is right now. It's happened to me with Erica specifically, actually. He rolled kind of through the first 4, but then you kind of hit that wall. I have it a lot with Richie and Tracy later on the run. I guess I shouldn't mention there are 16 stages total in this run. And there's a little bit of an AI spike where the AI is getting a little bit faster when you get towards the later half of the run. And it actually...
I did not get off to a good start there.
It actually can kind of benefit you because they're more likely to complete their chains and stuff. So I prefer late game over early game in this category.
Yeah, in this game, you do not get excited for a PB until you have the PB.
Yeah, for sure. There are several incidences where your last fight, which we won't spoil it, we'll let you guys see who the Puzzle Master is, but your last fight can be like a quick 20-second. And there are other times, more recently for me, when I've done runs, get that 3-minute or 4-minute fight. So painful.
Alright, cool. Erica did not see the side clear there.
That was a good incident of it right there. If you saw with the blocks on the right side, she could have dug herself out for that clear to keep going, but luckily for this AI exploit, she was focused on the left and then eventually died.
I thought I messed that up. Okay. Man, that could have been a good kill. This is the upward Ash dressed like a girl to battle in the gym. Dude, let's talk about the top 10 anime betrayals in Pokemon.
Oh boy. Dude, bye-bye Butterfree, man.
Dude, hardcore.
Dude, I bawled my eyes out when I was younger. The music that they played beside that was just so sad. And so what? There are... Is there 6 different colors? Standardly for this? I'm having trouble.
I think it's just 5 in the S-Hard, and then you have 6 if you play on marathon mode.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, there's 5. So, yeah, on the standard speedrun for all of the 5 difficulties that are in this game, there are 5 different. But when you bump it up to like hard or normal marathon, which is just like score grinding or certain levels in versus play, you get a 6th block that comes into play, which I think it benefits if you can play the game a lot faster. It works out well for you because you get less incidental clears. But it can be very frustrating because just adding that extra color is sometimes really hard to find extra clears quickly. There's a lot of playing this game on like level 10 versus. It's pure reaction. If you don't find your clear quick, it's almost insta-dying. Which,
okay, the freaking... Do you not have stop time, Koga?
which I guess it's a good time to get into what stop time is. So there's like this imaginary timer that appears off screen. A lot of people's probably their biggest question is how do you die in this game? Because you'll see someone stack topped off, but they don't immediately die. And so there's this timer called stop time. When your screen reaches the top, depending on what level you're on, or if you're playing like solo, they'll have, let's say, a 2-second countdown. And that 2-second countdown can be delayed or extended. It can be delayed by just making any kind of clear, or clearing garbage blocks. That'll just stop it temporarily. But if you do a combo or bigger chains, that's when you get additional stop time. So you could be topped out, but if you do like, let's say, a 15 chain or something and it ends when you're topped out, you'll actually have like 4 or 5 seconds to react to your next move if you couldn't find anything too quickly. So that's something to keep in mind.
No.
And you hardly ever find stop time kills in a super hard run, but it does happen every once in a while actually. Most of the time you just go for either the quick kill like Tay just got on Koga here, or you'll go for crush kills when they absolutely have no more moves left.
Crush kills are one of the most satisfying experiences in gaming.
I can agree to that statement 100%. It just knowing that you completely dominated the opponent. There also is one more block that we haven't talked about that maybe have been in play a little bit, but it's called the shock blocks. It's in this game, the standard blocks that Tay's using, it's like a gray exclamation point. But in the special Pokemon blocks, it's just like a gray Pokeball. And that one's a little bit special. All you need to do is clear 3 of those in a row, and it sends a full 6 wide garbage block that's 1 block high. And it appears as a different color than the rest of your garbage. So when the opponent starts clearing their garbage blocks, that one will not actually clear at the same time as your regular colored blocks. So it's kind of like a divider and makes it a little bit harder for the opponent to clear.
Alright, Sabrina's getting a little greedy here. That's why I haven't reset.
It's really hard to determine when to reset. A lot of the times it's just preference, like I mentioned earlier, but I think one of the most proper ways to do it, like Tay's been doing now, is you keep monitoring your opponent's stack, and if they are low on blocks, and it looks like they've been wasting more blocks clearing and have a lot of garbage still, that's when you go ahead and pull the trigger. But Sabrina's being a little bit stubborn right now. Which is why, as mentioned earlier, with a game with a world record time of around 17 minutes, that this happens to be a 40-minute estimate still. You can be satisfied with getting 20-minute runs, even if it's like 5 minutes behind your PB, because you just, you know, got a solid run in.
I'm getting close. Oh, I think that should be it.
That's what Tay's been waiting for the whole time.
Cool.
The AI just slipped up and did a clear a little bit too early there. And, you know, sub 2, not too bad. He's about halfway through the run, too.
And hopefully it'll go quicker with the late game AI. So in the chat, what is your favorite Pokemon?
Pretty good question. I can start with that first. I've always been a fan of Heracross for some reason. I think it was mostly because a lot of the bug Pokemon were pretty useless in like early gens, and then when they released Heracross Gen 2 and gave them the Mega Horn ability, which I think is still one of like the most insane attacks out there. It's like what, 120 base with like 85 accuracy or something. I was like, this guy's good. Not to mention they bundled him as a fighting type, so he covered like a lot of types. So I just liked him for how strong he was.
Dude, bro, Blaine's getting super duper greedy, so I'm probably gonna play this one out. If I was grinding for a PB, I would have reset a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. This is probably one of the hardest times to make a decision in the position Tay's right now, because he sent a pretty long garbage block right now, but Blaine's playing with a low stack, so you gotta wait for all of it to clear.
Mm-hmm.
But you know there's that slight chance to beat it.
Man, if you wouldn't have got that mid-air clear, that would have probably been a kill. And what kind of sucks in this game is that you are always guaranteed to get from the garbage, from the blocks that clear from the garbage, you're guaranteed to get one that'll clear down below, which is not the case in Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, as I recall. Okay, now let's just... Alright, who we got? We got Eevee, we got Jinx, we got Scyther, we got Vulpix, Scyther. Dude, we got all Gen 1 or Gen 2 guys. I gotta say that my favorite is Absol. Mostly because I just love his vibe and aesthetic. He's, okay, I'm gonna keep this here.
Dude, Absol's a pretty good choice. Personally,
Don't be dumb. Why would you do that?
Gen 3 of Pokemon is my favorite series, but I think I've still spent more time playing Gen 1 as probably a lot of people can say too.
Why do you go second tier, Blaine?
I don't know, there's some certain charm of Gen 3 that just had me hooked. I don't know, I think it was because the story was a little bit more developed compared to, like, first and second. And plus, those trumpets, dude. Gotta love trumpets.
trumpets, like in the sound. Oh yeah, okay. In the
Yeah,
soundtrack.
yeah. The joke that
Dude,
people
that was
always make about it. Just stick a trumpet in the music, make it better. I probably go back and forth, but I still stick with Gen 3 as my favorite, though Gen 1
No,
is
okay, why?
is a very close second. But I mean, all the games are good. Like I've never had a negative experience when playing the series. Even those Gen 5 haters out there, I actually liked Black and White a lot.
Black and White were the first gens that I didn't play all the way through. I probably should. I remember playing a Platinum, a crap load.
Yeah, it's funny because I generally had all the Nintendo consoles, but like the DS was one of the ones I like didn't own for the longest time. Like I actually owned a 3DS before I had the fat DS that I used.
Why?
Dude, Blaine's being annoying right now. That's pretty unlucky.
Okay, that should be good. All right. Well, I wish we were further ahead of our 40-minute estimate, but that's all right.
Not too bad. Yeah, he's officially halfway through. And I wish I did mention this earlier that I personally think the later half of the run's easier to go through. So you can definitely see Tay just knock off a bunch of games back and forth right now. The best Pokemon game is Digimon Fire Red. Of course, you may. That's one of my favorites too.
That was a very bad start on Tracy.
The starter Pokemon of Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Agumon.
This is a meme-free chat, please. The streamer needs no memes in order to focus.
Yeah, there was a site called Epic Mafia that I would go to play Mafia games online with other people. But they had like a side mini games. One of them was based off of. I know I'm going into a big tangent here, but it's worth it. One of them had side mini games, and it was kind of based off of Draw My Thing. And one of the categories was Pokemon. So it just had it would give you a Pokemon.
Tracy is not doing, like, anything. He's not clearing any blocks.
Dude, sounds like typical Tracy.
Alright, we got him low, though, now.
Awesome, we back. I'm glad everyone in chat didn't get to miss a lot of the Bejeweled action that was going on. Sorry, I forgot this was meme for your stream.
Yeah, please, mods. You could,
If you want the easiest way to tilt a Puzzle League player when they're streaming, just say, this is a great Bejeweled stream. It'll work 100% of the time.
That's a new one. I don't think I've heard that in our community before.
It's a good time to talk about a lot of the different categories associated not only with this game but a little bit of the series as well, which is one thing I like about this game. It has so many difficulties and a lot of modes. Oh, Tracy, man, what are you doing to us?
God, I'm not even playing poorly.
Hey, it happens. It's the nature of the game. But so the main one obviously that we're running, and this is kind of like this is probably the category that defines almost the whole series. It's like the versus mode, specifically the hardest difficulty. You have a easy, normal, and hard, and then you have two extra ones that you unlock with a code on your card, very hard and S hard. You also have two of the other unique modes that are tracked are Spa Service, which is a line clearing mode. So in this game, it's centered around different costumes that Team Rocket used to have. And you'll have 3 rounds of 2D mode. And then there's actually a 3D mode in this game, which is a really cool idea, but it was not well executed in this game. Mostly due to it being very, very laggy on Versus, and when this game was re-released on PC, it actually lags a lot in Spa Service as well.
Yeah, you cannot run Spa Service on VC.
And then, last but not least, you have the Marathon mode, or Time Attack, used mostly for scores in that instance, but that's just gives you a whole screen of blocks, and you just try to chain as much as you can and get the highest score. And so people will have like a certain set score in Marathon, like 100k or something, and then that's how that's done speed runs of. I like those 3 categories because they all utilize something a little bit different. When you have the versus modes, it's kind of a hybrid of everything. You got to be smart, you got to know how to chain and combo really well, and it's a lot about timing. So if you can keep up all that stuff, that's what makes versus a lot of fun for me. When you have Spa Service, that's strictly speed. You're not worrying about chains, you're not worrying about combos. Until the very end, there's a special stage, but it's not too important. But getting those clears as fast as you can. And then in Marathon, like I said, it's all about chains. So if you like the swag out in this game, it's probably the mode for you.
God, I'm so sorry, guys. This might be overestimate.
Nah, nonsense. Wait till this end run here. It's gonna be insane. And most of the other games in the series kind of take a similar structure to those. They all have that line clear mode and Marathon and stuff. So, since like each one has like a different engine and people have different nostalgia towards other games, it makes it perfect. I would suggest this game as a speed game, as frustrating as it might look right now, but...
Yes! God, I got bailed out there.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you raised that stack.
I was 1 line short, and I still got it.
Most of the time, you'll get them with the kill with just only 2 lines of blocks on their screen, but Tay got lucky enough with 4 rows, and they still couldn't find one. Theoretically, you could have your whole screen filled up with blocks, and there might not be a clear available. the RNG would never allow that if you're just raising blocks by yourself, but you could personally set up something like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could just like put two of a certain color.
You could alternate them.
And alternate
easily. But I'm pretty sure, like in Tetris Attack, there are seeds how blocks spawn. It might be a little bit different than Tetris Attack, but I have definitely recognized patterns when starting, and so when you're raising your stack and getting more blocks, usually it'll give you some sort of clear to continue. Oh yeah, I guess we should mention the sound effects in this game. They're beautiful, but can be annoying. Like someone like me or Tay, we've played this game enough to where it doesn't really bother us all too much, but it's hilarious. Especially, like, I think Lorelai is one of my favorites for sound effects because she has, like, Cloister and Dugong. Cloister is just so memorable. Hopefully we'll get to experience a little bit of it when we get there.
Okay, I think we got it. Crush kill.
Also,
dude,
you figure, I mean, the characters are based off of the anime, so some of the extra ones like Tracy and Richie, I guess, are a little bit more relevant. But they put those two in and left out some of the Elite Four, including Agatha and Lance, which I thought was
those guys weird. Were those guys in the anime?
I mean, they might have appeared. Probably not relevant to the Elite Four because they had, like, what? They had that tournament that he entered at the end of the season or something. So it makes sense strictly in terms of the anime, but I kind of wish that they would take Tracy and Richie out and put the whole Elite Four in. Just because no one likes Tracy and Richie is the discount Ash.
Dude, well, when you're talking favorite Pokemon characters, it's always who's your second favorite, because Richie is number one. Clearly.
Yeah, and Dragon Drake to say a little bit more on that, like Test Zero said, yeah, it's just cosmetic. Most of the people pick Pikachu for the speedruns just because, obviously, it's the first selection, so you save a couple.
Dude, that was a beautiful setup by Giovanni.
Well, that was a very nice kill. Perfect textbook quick kill there.
Dude, I did not send much, but he bailed me out.
Which, if I'm correct in saying this, if you do pick a different Pokemon, your cursor stays over them, or does it reset stage by stage? Like,
I have no idea.
I'm not too sure if it does stay in your like, let's say you select Squirtle and it stays on Squirtle the whole time. You literally only save a couple frames in the entire run from it, but it might reset.
Ooh, that might... There we go.
Very nice kill. See, I told you you're gonna pick up steam at the end of this. It's just the Puzzle League way. If it trolls you one part, it's gonna give you luck in the rest.
Dude, I want to say that all the top runners in this game, like, have the ability to world record. It's not like other games where, like, if someone is 2 minutes better than someone else on the leaderboards, that player is better. And fuck. But in Puzzle League, I have been on world record pace runs before, and then didn't get them. I would say that Cards is probably better than us, but, like, not hugely so.
There's
a
little bit of form of consistency in this game, but yeah, like Tay mentioned, it can be random, and a lot of people have some caliber. Shout out to Cards, and actually shout out to one of the newer runners. His name is Honji. My bad. But he busted out like a mid 17-minute run, basically out of nowhere, because no one really knew who he was until he busted that out.
Yeah. Dude, Hanji just freaking coming in and bumping me down from 7th to 8th.
Dude, he bumped me down
But
too.
now, dude, but then I took Yume's spot, so it's alright. How did I mess that up? No.
That's cool, you know. There's a lot of runners, a lot of people that were in the sub 20 club that used to be a dream for a lot of people who run the game several years back, but now it's got like people like Yume in the chat, myself, and then shout outs to like Monty and FFR Pro and Flagglestan. I think that's the entire club.
I believe so. Yeah, sub 20 is basically, that's probably where you can say you're done with PPL, unless you want to grind for like sub 18, which is not really something you have to do. That would have been a good Bruno if I didn't mess it up. Okay, I am playing on a Wii U VC with an HD TV, and sometimes I have controller lag. So sometimes when I clearly drop a block down, it does not do it.
Yeah, you're crazy, man.
I don't have a CRT.
That's true. CRTs are pretty inconvenient.
I've been looking for one.
I used to, well, a lot of people will play VC mostly on this game because it actually has slightly faster load times, but it really doesn't matter too much for the versus category just because of the RNG variance. I mean, you could argue still about it. But
Bruno did nothing there.
I think it's just based on like what kind of controllers that you find more comfortable. I've done probably half and half time between VC and N64. I actually used to use the first classic controller D-pad when playing on VC. I actually didn't mind it. A lot of people don't really like that D-pad though. But I've grown so accustomed to the N64 D-pad that it feels really natural. Even though I'll play on emulator sometimes with like the Xbox One controller or something.
Why would he have the bottom clear there? Okay, I messed that up. My frying pan's now a drawing pan. There's also one where Nurse Joy calls a Growlithe RK9.
Oh yeah, she's like RK9 flamethrower. The classic clips.
Dude. More timeless animation. Simpsons or Pokemon?
Definitely Pokemon for me.
It has to be Pokemon.
I mean, I didn't really watch The Simpsons at all, so I have no connection to that show. Good show, though, regardless.
Dude, I think this is gonna be it. There we go.
Nice.
All I know is that I took all my dating advice in middle school from watching Brock on Pokemon.
Oh no, that can't be good.
And that's why I currently have 8 wives.
So, even though there's 2 stages left here, this is considered the final stretch for the speedrun because stage 15 and 16 are kind of connected. We've been using reset strats all throughout the run here, but once you get to the last stage, you aren't allowed to reset or die, or else you'll go back to Gary here.
Oh god, that was terrible.
So, once he gets past Gary, he's got to have...
Dude, it's Gary Oak. It's actually the best player in the series.
That's true. He's got to get good RNG and hopefully a good start on Mewtwo, or else he's got to wait out the battle, which I don't think anyone seriously has tried to reset strat Mewtwo. Maybe for fun, but no one like on a good run will ever reset Mewtwo. It's too much time wasted because then you got to rely on getting 2 more quick kills after that.
Why would... There we go.
Oh shoot, I did say the name by accident. Whoops, spoilers. Well, now you guys know who the Puzzle Master is. Dude, I was doing so good, but then it just naturally came out of my mouth.
Dude, it's okay. Mewtwo's free.
That's true. Alright, so Mewtwo the Puzzle Master, last stage of the game. Time will be as soon as Mewtwo dies.
Oh my god, did I really just like...
Which could be 10
Mess that
seconds from now, or it could be 10 minutes from now.
Wow, time.
There you go. It was like basically the 10-second end of it. That's Pokemon Puzzle League in a nutshell right there.
Dude, Mewtwo bailed me out so hard. Wow, excellent. That was super fun. And we still pretty much beat. We met estimate.
40 minutes, we'll take that run. There's still times where I could get close to a 50-minute run.
Yeah, what's really funny about this game is that if you're streaming it, you will continuously lower your bar. So you'll be like, hey, I'm on PB pace. And then you'll be like, alright, I'm on sub 20 pace. And then you'll be like, alright, well, I'm still sub 30. And then the lowest you can go is sub 40, which is GDQ estimate. And then after that, you're just like, you have nowhere to go. If you resort to the sub hour, that's you're in a bad place.
Yeah, I recommend if you like puzzles or have some kind of connection to the series, it's not a bad speed run to learn. And I'm going to do a shameless plug right now. We have a group called Puzzle General, and we basically grew up on this game, but have since went to a whole bunch of different other games too. So if you're ever interested in speedruns of the genre, check us out. And I'll post a link, or Tayman actually did just now. But yeah, thanks RGLtv for having us. Thanks for Tayman for allowing me to do commentary. This game is definitely my all-time favorite. And I'm glad more and more people can get exposed to it. So that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, it was super fun. It's nice to run in a marathon setting where you don't have to worry about